Hai Sobat Kata, balik lagi nih sama kita
Joe,
Angel di
podcast
Berawal dari Kata. Karena semua kisah berawal dari kata. Nah, kalian masih inget gak sih sama kita nih, host legendaris, ya gak? Ya gak? Iya, gak apa-apa, ngeklaim diri sendiri ya. Nah, oh my god, ada buku nih di depan kita, jadi ingat banget kalau harus kerjain tugas nanti pas pulang. Aduh, guru kasih tugas tuh, ya tahu sih niatnya buat kebaikan kita, tapi kayaknya susah-susah banget ya.
Iya, apalagi pas online gini PR jadi numpuk banget.
Bener,
tiap hari ada PR.
Bener.
Dan diskusiin sama temen jadi lebih susah gak sih, Jel?
Iya, bener banget sih, gue merasakan banget hal itu. Nah, gimana ya, gue bingung deh jadinya.
Oh iya, gue ada solusi nih buat kita.
Apa tuh?
Meja kita.
Meja kita apaan tuh?
Nah, meja kita belum tahu kan?
Belum.
Pas banget nih. Ada teman gue, David.
Halo. Hai David, hai.
Halo Angel, halo
temen Jo, ini temen lu?
Iya.
Oke.
Jadi
Sekalian
Sobat
nih.
Kata, David ini adalah co-founder dari Meja Kita. Meja Kita apa? Penasaran kan? Langsung aja kita tanyain ke Davidnya.
Let's go.
Oke, jadi mungkin introduction dari diri gue sendiri ya.
Ya, boleh.
Halo Sobat Kata semuanya, gue David Amadeo, gue adalah salah satu co-founder dari Meja Kita Group. Oke, jadi mungkin untuk menjawab pertanyaan Joe dan Angel tadi, Meja Kita tuh apa sih? What is Meja Kita? Oke, jadi mungkin gue jawabnya agak campur-campur ya bahasa
It's
Inggris.
okay, ya nggak
apa-apa.
Jadi pertama when we formulated Meja Kita itu waktu itu back then September or October 2015 kalau nggak salah, sekitar 6 tahun yang lalu. That's a long time ago. Ya, 6 tahun yang lalu itu we created this non-profit organization namanya Meja Kita, yaitu our aim itu to provide free educational content for students all over Indonesia. And kita tuh memakai konsep peer-to-peer teaching di mana kita students to students, like our motto, dari siswa untuk siswa. Jadi what we decided to do was we wanted to return the ownership of learning back to the students. Soalnya what we see normally in a lot of students, a lot of schools, perhaps not only in Indonesia ya, itu a lot of students do not take their lessons, the results of their actions, the results of their studying progress, and in their own hands. Bahkan banyak yang menyalahkan gurunya lah nggak ngajarnya benar, atau adalah environmentnya beginilah, atau yang inilah berisik. Padahal at the end of the day juga it comes back to them kan. They're the ones studying it, it's for them, and we wanted to make sure that we give that ownership of learning back to the students. Mereka feel bahwa this studying, this progress, this topics, the things I'm learning is mine, and I take full responsibility of what I'm learning gitu. And from that kita juga pengen, because we see this in a lot of students in Indonesia, jadi we use this concept of revolusi edukasi. Jadi we wanted to revolutionize the educational concept. We understand we cannot change it as a whole, cuman ya we revolutionize it. Jadi what Meja Kita is kayak seperti namanya sendiri, Meja Kita, this table, Meja Kita kan. And we provide a platform, kita provide mediumnya, yaitu mejanya ini. And it's like a potluck lunch. Jadi we invite students dari seluruh pelosok negara, seluruh Indonesia. Jadi you bring your own books, you bring your own pencils, you bring your own highlighters, but then we provide the table for you guys to study. Gitu. Jadi kayak potluck lunch di mana kita menyediain mejanya, tapi all the students bring their own lunches, bring their own spoons and forks and plates and whatever. Jadi as a whole, that's Meja Kita.
Jadi Meja Kita kayak sebuah forum ya, wadah ya buat kita belajar bareng-bareng.
Yes.
Tapi sebelum lebih lanjut, gue mau ini nih, penasaran sama yang tadi lu sempat bilang ownership of learning. Itu menarik sih kayak. Tapi sebelumnya dari David sendiri, ownership of learning tuh apa sih? Apakah itu sudah cukup ada di pelajar-pelajar Indonesia atau belum, atau gimana?
For myself, I cannot speak on behalf of the students. Soalnya gue sendiri dari kecil, puji Tuhan, dan also thanks to the dedication and effort of my parents juga, I was brought up in a school yang dimana it's an international curriculum dari as young as I could remember. And aku dari TK, SD, SMP, SMA juga, I was brought up in a community di mana this concept, this ideology is heightened and fully supported gitu, di mana everything what I study, everything itu it's mine gitu. And I kerasa it feels different when it's like your baby gitu. This is the result of my actions. This is the result of my efforts and blood, sweat and tears gitu. And I feel personally that with my work, I always feel the ownership of learning in it. Cuman for students over Indonesia, mungkin there are a lot of people yang I've talked to and asked about, and masih kurang lah. Kalau pertanyaannya, if I've seen this in students in Indonesia, masih there are a lot of rooms to be improved.
Oh, oke.
Gue juga sedikit penasaran nih, misalnya ini kan mungkin untuk usia lu cukup muda ya, dan teman-teman lu juga untuk memulai kayak platform ya startup kecil-kecil seperti ini kan. Nah itu pasti awalnya kan susah banget kan. Nah itu gimana biar lu keep up the fire, the spirit ya gitu loh.
Oke. Gue waktu itu pas mulai, I was 15. Itu kelas 1 SMA.
Iya.
Dan itu ya dengan berkat suasana juga community, itu juga akhirnya bareng sama teman-teman sekelas gue. Jadi it was all my age, bahkan one school, 8 other people, and satu teman gue, the CEO, waktu itu sekolahnya in Singapore, cuman masih satu angkatan. Kalau dibilang it was difficult, it was extremely difficult. Cuman we had the comfort and luxury, I suppose, di mana the capital and the funds were being provided by our parents. Jadi our parents basically said, here's the money, you get creative, do whatever you want with it, just make something out of it gitu. There's no pressure, there's no nothing, pokoknya ya yang lu tahu aja gitu, and just experiment gitu. This is the age to experiment. And yeah, throughout until upwards of pas udah lulus SMA, that's what we did. We tried a lot of things, we spent a lot of money and apa-apa. Cuman emang we decided to try and experiment and try different things, because juga this is one of the things that I listened to. There was a podcast by Nadiem Makarim when he was still the CEO of Gojek. He said something about hyper innovating. Soalnya dia realize bahwa Gojek itu an underdog compared to Grab di Indonesia waktu itu. Jadi what he had to do with his team was to hyper innovate, bikin GoMart, GoClean, go apa, and
super
bahkan Grab
gitu,
yang this huge unicorn yang udah all over Southeast Asia, they didn't even have that idea gitu. And what he said was, as an underdog, he had to hyper innovate to keep the competition with Grab, and that's what we did gitu. And with the money that we were provided, we kept hyper innovating. What are the things that our competitors didn't do, even though they had all these resources and money and funds and whatever. And waktu itu, to answer your question, how we stay motivated, of course there are a lot of ways. There are a lot of things that we saw in order to keep us motivated. Contoh, one was the fact that there are a lot of people, if you try to do something different, there are a lot of people who like to see you fail.
That's right, yeah.
A lot of people like to see you fail, and they hate to see you succeed. And I felt that by losing a lot of friends throughout high school. They thought, ini apaan sih? This is just for clout. This is just to be famous, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, of course that fueled us gitu. And juga the second thing was the fact that kita semua seumuran, kita semua berteman, jadi there was this lack of seriousness. Ya, apa ya, we're just friends and we're just doing this cool thing, sometimes we think like that. Cuman ya, at the same time, there's some that we need to be reminded of our purpose, and at the same time, we need our ego to be fed. Soalnya ya, we are high octane people kan. As a startup juga, in a startup tuh the labels, the names that we have, CMO, CEO, COO, apa-apa, they're just labels. As a startup, everyone has to do everything. Kan nggak bisa satu orang doang ngerjain apa semua. Jadi everyone does everything. And it's extremely tiring. And juga pasti my CEO ini, Akshay Effendi ini, he has 28, 29 hour days. He doesn't sleep, he just does everything. And he helps direct us. He's a brilliant mentor. Pokoknya he helped direct us to do everything. And in a sense, kita harus selalu di-remind bahwa we're doing this very good and noble thing. We're trying to help everyone, and we have the means and resources to do it. Why not? And on the other hand, we need our ego fed. We need to be reminded bahwa we're succeeding, we're doing something, and we are having the byproduct of it. Contoh, we got the attention of our competitor. Waktu itu the huge competitor was Ruangguru. It still is until now. And he was a graduate from Harvard. Dia dapat his investments from Kemendikbud and everything, and we were rejected by like 3 more venture capitalists kan. My friend juga waktu itu pernah di-interview sama this angels investors. We were rejected just because we were high school students. And at one point we were recognized by Ruangguru because we saw that their social media itu mulai ngikutin kita. And a lot of those things terus akhirnya kita juga got the attention of Kemendikbud. Terus akhirnya we went to Kemendikbud to talk about future partnerships and blah blah blah.
Okay. It's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. And juga my friend juga yang the CEO, he got invited to speak in the Asia Pacific Education Conference, APEC, back 2019 or something in Bali. It's amazing and to see all those progress, it fuels us furthermore. Jadi there are a lot of aspects from people liking to see us fail that fuels us to seeing progress, to being reminded of what we are doing right now is something that is very beneficial to other people. So that's how I think it fuels us.
Iya. Wah, menarik banget ya Jel meja kita.
Jadi pokoknya what's important itu ya support yang udah kita dapat, ya kita fokus sama itu yang dukung kita. Betul. Bukan malah yang mau ngejatuhin kita.
Bener banget. Tapi sebelum lanjut gue penasaran nih. You were high school at the time, right?
Yeah.
Kamu waktu itu lu masih SMA, masih kelas 1 SMA. Mungkin anak-anak kelas 1 SMA lainnya pemikirannya ya rata-rata paling bagaimana adaptasi di sekolah, mungkin gimana tentang pelajaran. Tapi waktu itu lu udah punya pemikiran yang besar, udah peduli gitu ke ini ada sesuatu yang harus gue lakuin di pendidikan Indonesia nih. Dan you started to doing this. Apa sih yang memotivasi lu waktu itu untuk
in the first place-nya ya?
Iya, yang memotivasi lu untuk gue harus bikin sesuatu buat pendidikan Indonesia nih. Karena nggak banyak kan anak muda yang kayak gitu.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you're too caught up in what you're doing, and you tend to narrow your perspective and things. Cuma waktu itu the true origins of what Meja Kita came to be itu sebetulnya from our CEO Aksa ini. Jadi waktu itu he was in Newtown Secondary School, if I'm not mistaken, di Singapore, and he came from a quite fortunate family. But then waktu itu katanya tuh he went to Jogja to meet his cousins, and di Jogja ini tuh he saw that his own blood, his own relatives, they don't have access to books, they don't have access to internet. Pokoknya tuh mereka dapat buku, dapat materi buat belajar itu susah banget. Jadi he would go from Jakarta to Jogja ini, or whatever his hometown was, I forgot. Dia tuh bawa buku pelajaran, and he just thought it was so silly the fact that his own blood itu beda banget sama dia gitu. He was in Singapore, he had everything he needed. He might have lived in a very small apartment, cuman nevertheless he had books, he had the full support of the Singapore educational system, blah blah blah. Cuman dia, his own cousin saya tuh di situ punya buku aja susah gitu. And waktu itu he told me that he was discussing this with his father, and his father worked in Microsoft back then. And waktu itu they got to talking apparently, and they decided we should try to make something out of this. We should help other people gitu, especially now that his father has the resources. They have all the means, and he ended up inviting me and along with my friends. And akhirnya waktu itu it took me a moment juga sih to fully get on board. Soalnya I had to think of what's in it for me gitu. What is driving me? What is going to drive me for this? I don't want to join this just for the fun gitu, just for the my friends are doing this, my friends are apa. And I got to thinking about his story, about I started researching about the educational system here, and I thought, yeah, it's true. And the disparity between me and also I have cousins. I might not have this thought of waktu itu masalah pembelajaran apa-apa, because with cousins you tend to play and not talk about education apa. Terus I got to thinking, a lot of people, a lot of my cousins juga ada yang tinggal di Banjar, and they wouldn't have the same resources that I do right now gitu loh. It's so odd having close blood cuman gitu. And we thought we could expand this table across the archipelago kan, dari Sabang sampai Merauke, kalau mejanya panjang kan bisa.
Iya.
So I thought, yeah, let's do this. Let's make a table wide enough to span from Sabang to Merauke. So that's what we did.
Jadi ada kayak perasaan prihatin gitu ya waktu ngelihat, wah ada, gue bisa belajar dengan baik di sini sementara orang-orang di luar sana belajar dapat buku aja susah gitu.
Yeah, and it's pretty noble kan, maksudnya it's a non-profit. Okay, it's a noble thing to do, but then it's not always easy to do something this noble. I mean, you're not getting anything out of it. Gitu.
Yeah.
Jadi you had to have this passion, this mindset of yes, I'm doing this, and it's okay that I'm doing this for other people, and none of this funds or nothing that I'm gonna get is for me gitu. And it's difficult, gak gampang ya. Pertama it's nice, oh yeah, it's fun, it's cool, it's noble. Cuma along the line it gets tough gitu. You're doing all this, you're not getting anything out of it. Of course I've had those moments, cuma nevertheless again I have to be reminded of why we're doing this, where we're apa, and at the end of the day it pulls through gitu with our vision and mission. At the end of the day masih dari siswa untuk siswa, masih non-profit, masih apa, it still runs gitu.
Menarik banget
iya
aja
sih.
meja kita ya.
Bener-bener deep banget, bener-bener what drive them itu gokil sih.
Iya.
Nice. Nah, kita udah cukup dalam ya ngebahas meja kita. Nah, sekarang kita mau dinginin otak dulu. Kita mau ya tanya jawab singkat seru gitu lah. Nama gamesnya Meja Sekolah.
Meja Sekolah.
Oke. Nah, jadi ini gamesnya seperti apa sih, Jo?
Oke, jadi gamesnya kita seperti question of life gitu. Kita akan kasih 2 pilihan, 2 option. Nanti lu David tinggal pilih option yang mana. Dan ini cepet-cepetan.
Ya.
Harus langsung jawab dengan spontan aja gitu.
Oke. I'll try.
Contoh ya, contoh soal ya.
Give me a sneak peek.
Oke.
Wait, am I the only one playing?
Yeah, of course dong.
Feels like an interview.
It's okay. Oke.
Shoot.
Oke, apa Jel contohnya Jel?
Contohnya nih, naik transportasi umum ke sekolah atau naik kendaraan pribadi.
Ini kalau gara-gara COVID kayaknya nggak pribadi.
Oke, udah sih.
Iya,
kayak gitu kira-kira. Yang penting jawabnya cepet ya. Itu cuma contoh. Sekarang kita masuk ke pertanyaan yang sesungguhnya. Siap-siap nih.
Oke, pertanyaan nomor 1.
Nervous.
Oke. Nah, belajar satu arah atau 2 arah?
Satu arah.
Oke, kita keep dulu jawabannya ya. Nanti kita akan tanya-tanya nanti. Sekolah atau kuliah?
Kuliah.
Oke. Online class atau offline class?
Offline class. Of
course, mantap. Belajar atau pacaran?
Pacaran sih.
Apa?
Pacaran sih.
Oke. Itu ya, noted tuh jawabannya.
Speak the truth and nothing but the truth.
Oke. Teman atau uang?
Kenapa?
Teman atau uang?
Teman.
Oke. Selanjutnya.
Ini pertanyaan lebih ringan dan lebih just for fun aja. Kursi atau meja?
Meja.
Fisika atau kimia?
Fisika jauh.
Memberi contekan atau menerima contekan?
Memberi.
Memberi.
Bolos sekolah dengan nilai bagus atau masuk sekolah dengan nilai jelek?
Masuk sekolah dengan nilai jelek.
Oke. Kantin sekolah atau masakan rumah?
Masakan rumah.
Oke, that's all.
That's pretty nice. That's pretty fun.
Oke.
Ada yang menarik banget nih yang kita pengen kulik lebih dalam nih.
Oke, yang pertama paling ya yang belajar satu arah ya.
Oke.
Kenapa lu pilih belajar satu arah?
Honestly, I don't know what it means. Satu arah itu apa?
Satu arah itu.
Jadi belajar satu arah itu seperti kayak gurunya yang aktif gitu. Jadi muridnya hanya menerima.
Iya. 2 arah ya.
Klarifikasi ya.
Oke. Kenapa lu pilih 2 arah? 2 ways.
Oh my god, this is actually okay. The philosophy on this actually dates far back. Cuma maksudnya sebenarnya kalau penjelasan panjangnya tuh panjang banget. Cuma in short, it's always nice that kalau the students and the teacher engage. Saling engage. Soalnya kayak ya learning kan you need to be involved kan. You cannot just the teacher just blah 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 blah. Suasana belajarnya tuh lebih fun and conducive perhaps kalau ada banyak. This involves a lot of critical thinking apa-apa. You know when kerasanya tuh kalau it's just the teachers yang speaking tuh like shutting off the students. You know the students are just meant to listen and not to think. What's that any good kan? For the future, for the kalau apa ya, jadinya you spend the first 18 years of your life being shut off by the teachers, and what can you do for the rest of your life?
So that's what yang penting interaksi dan hubungan timbal baliknya itu ya. Dalam belajar.
The more you speak, the more you think about what the teacher is saying, critical thinking skills will be developed, and that that critical thinking skills are involved in literally every single life decision you ever face in the future. Waktu itu gue juga sempat make this, gue sempat ngomong di Facebook tentang rekindling nation's faith on voting. Artinya pokoknya gue coba nge-convince para millennials and people our age vote. We see banyak orang yang apatis, banyak yang golput. And waktu itu gue sama Facebook sama my friend Aksa ini yang the CEO kerja bareng, and we try to make a talk show about convincing people to vote. And gue waktu itu ngomong di aspek edukasinya. And it's true the fact that ya kalau banyak di sekolah-sekolah Indonesia tuh lebih banyak menghafal, for example periodic table you hafal, formula hafal, hafal. Dimana for example in my school kalau di ujian tuh periodic table dikasih, formula tuh disediain. Cuman ya with that information that you have, that doesn't mean you can answer the question, soalnya lebih ke aplikasi konsep daripada
lebih analitis gitu ya.
Lebih analitis, and it develops critical thinking gitu kan.
Benar.
Jadi nggak menghafal, you don't just shut off ini, hafal nih, ini jawabannya ini, kerjain sendiri, hafal.
Kalau teori mungkin mudah didapat ya dari internet ya. Sebenarnya.
It's not just menghafal.
Betul.
It transcends beyond school. And waktu itu we did some research, and golput tuh for that similar reason. Gara-gara orang-orang tuh they don't care, this is none of my business, apalah, gak ada pikiran kritisnya gitu.
I'm totally agree sih.
Exactly. You should listen to it.
Okay,
anyways.
Oke, selanjutnya apa lagi nih yang mau kita tanya-tanya, klarifikasi?
Yang tadi yang cukup menarik ya.
Pacaran lagi.
Oh, boleh sih.
belum ke situ.
Belum.
Sekolah atau kuliah dulu deh.
Oke.
Kuliah jauh.
Why?
You haven't felt it sih, itu online soalnya. Because it's college, dude. You have this sense of, for me personally, I get this new sense of freedom, of course, as anyone would expect. Cuman at the same time, a new sense of ownership in what I study, because I feel, okay, oh my God, this is actually this matters a lot more than high school, even though it doesn't, it's not everything that matters. Cuman it matters a lot more than high school. And I feel like I should be more serious. And juga masuk kuliah, I felt like I had a blank sheet of paper where I can start doing something. This is my starting point. The high school, whatever screw ups I did, whatever mistakes that I did, that could be erased and forgiven gitu. This is college. This is where things start to matter gitu, when I reached 18. And I felt and beyond that, because of that, jadi lebih niat belajar, lebih ada this new found sense of seriousness and responsibility.
Responsibility benar-benar kita yang bawa gitu.
Kan?
Benar-benar.
Jadi di kuliah ownership of learning tuh lebih jelas ya, kita yang memilih ini untuk kita pelajari dan kita yang tanggung jawab gitu.
Iya benar.
Bukan kayak kita dari sekian banyak materi kita dikasih semua satu-satu, kita harus telan gitu. That's ownership of learning that you mean?
And juga the added aspect of, mungkin juga dulu pas high school gue udah have this ownership sih. Cuman in college tuh, the reason why I feel a lot more is because basically the professors, the lecturers, they're not as close or as pushy as they were in high school kan. Jadi you were truly on your own.
Benar.
And it's scary. At one point it's scary. Jadi you force yourself to, oh my God, I really need to do this,
Kalau lu males ya dosen gak akan ngejar gitu kan.
And if you screw up, it's a lot more expensive. And on my parents juga, time juga spent on
benar.
doing this rather than doing something else gitu kan. It's college all the way.
Oke, bener sih ya. Mungkin rata-rata nih tergantung nih sobat kata, kalian mungkin sekolah atau mungkin kuliah. Kalian boleh tulis di komen nih.
Boleh
banget.
Nah,
lanjut Jil, apalagi
klarifikasi selanjutnya nih, kita butuh ya cukup 2 lagi kali ya, 2 kali klarifikasi. Yang mana kira-kira ya?
Aja kali ini.
Kocak, oke sip. Ini sih yang mungkin lu nggak sabar nih mau jelasin, yang belajar atau pacaran?
Ya sih, soalnya
kenapa nih?
One thing money can't buy is time kan. And studying is truly important. Cuman you have to understand that you gotta appreciate what you have before things change gitu. Maksudnya you have to relish the people that is around you, the people who love you. You have to cherish them at your best. Soalnya belajar is important gitu. Cuman for me it's more important of the people around you, the people who love you.
Mungkin kayak belajar sambil pacaran bisa, tapi mungkin belajar nggak bisa dijadiin pacar ya. Oke. Makanya menarik. Oke, nih selanjutnya mau klarifikasi yang mana nih? Yang asik-asik atau yang deep nih?
Oke, tadi yang cukup asik sih yang memberi contekan atau menerima contekan.
Iya.
Tadi lo jawab memberi.
Kenapa? Ya, dua-duanya dosa sih, tapi boleh nih. tetap dijelasin nggak apa-apa.
Kenapa ya?
Kenapa ya?
Soalnya I don't know why contekan kalau gue yang ngasih itu lebih I can trust on it more than gue nerima.
Bener, masuk akal sih.
Pernah nggak sih nyontek terus salah contekan?
Iya.
Ya kan?
Maksudnya enggak pernah. Nggak pernah. Iya sih benar.
Twice, 4 times.
It's okay.
Ya nggak maksudnya.
Honest is good.
I don't know why. I feel like I can trust more on my answers rather than other people's kan. Ya kalau lebih baik nggak ngasih sih, cuman in that option.
Berarti emang usaha aja biar nggak usah minta ya.
That's true.
Emang.
Oke, that's all our games.
Betul.
It's fun. It's been incredibly fun.
Yeah. Sobat kata mungkin bisa tuh dicontoh ya, maksudnya jangan kasih tapi jangan.
Kalau bisa jangan nyontek.
Ya kalau bisa jangan kasih maksudnya, betul.
Iya.
Siapa tuh yang ketawa bener-bener gede banget suaranya. Oke.
Nah, kita udah ngobrol panjang lebar sampai sini nih. Terus kita ada kayak rada lapar gitu gak sih? Siang-siang gini belum makan.
Iya, tadi keruyuk dikit sih. Mumpung nih ada snacks nih.
Aduh, asik.
Boleh nih diambil nih masing-masing.
Boleh nih tisunya bagi nih.
Sip. Buka ya.
Jadi sobat kata, ini ada risoles ragut ayam.
Aduh, jatuh.
Bener banget. Dari GKK Mart, yaitu dari Cieni.
Ini isinya apa sih? Wih, oke. Ini isinya apa tadi?
Oke, kita ambil dulu aja,
Oke, ambil dulu ya. Ada cabai rawit, mantap.
Oke.
Bukan pantun, Bos. Aduh.
Oke.
Nih, risolesnya.
Oke. Dari teksturnya gimana Fit menurut lu?
Wah,
kalau disentuh sih enak.
Oke. Ini isinya apa?
Ini ada ragut ayam. Jadi ayam campur sayur-sayuran gitu.
Oh, ini kemarin gue sempet makan nih dan beneran enak sih.
Oh iya.
Bener-bener lembut banget, dalamnya juga rasanya gurihnya pas. Mantap sih.
Dan pastinya juga sehat kan isinya.
Betul.
Juga.
Oke, kita break dulu kali ya. Nanti kita akan balik lagi.
Oke, nanti makan dulu ya.
Sip. Wow, enak banget tadi gila risolesnya.
Betul banget. Kalau sobat kata tertarik mau beli, kalian bisa temuin ini di GKK Care Mart. Ini ada di description box.
Betul, must try.
You should try it, definitely should try it.
Betul. Oke, kita udah snacks ya. Udah lumayan ngisi perut, ngeganjal perut. Enak. Sekarang kita mau bahas lagi meja kita nih lebih lagi.
Okay.
Nah, ini nih ya, lu kan udah 6 tahun kan. Kurang lebih udah 6 tahun, itu harusnya sebenarnya progresnya udah lumayan lah ya. Nah, tapi untuk kedepannya nih kira-kira menurut lu meja kita tuh udah sampai mana sih? Dan apa sih yang mau lu tuju lebih lagi ke depannya gitu?
Oke, jadi now that I'm 20, approaching 21, waktu itu me and Aksa had a conversation. Intinya we soon realized bahwa when we reached 18 ya, banyak a lot of our friends yang the other co-founders yang keluar negeri for kuliah and they got busy and everything. And when they got older, they soon some of them realized that wasn't their passion, which is definitely okay.
Yeah.
Said that we appreciated their efforts completely. Everyone yang I don't need to mention the names one by one. We all appreciate everyone's work and everyone's time that was put into this. Cuman some of them realized it wasn't their passion. Ya gitu. And there was some management reforms and everything. Terus waktu itu it was around 2018, 2019, and akhirnya yang 2 people yang di Indonesia who was handling it itu me and Aksa.
Okay.
And there was one Nando di Vancouver, was in UBC, and the other one was in Groningen or something di Belanda.
Jadi sekarang ada 4 yang emang fokus.
Nah, waktu itu 2018 tuh berempat dan 2 di sini, and pokoknya we realized that the time to experiment, the time to have fun, the time to be completely bonkers and creative was coming to an end. The fact is, the funds that our parents have been giving to us itu it's starting to decrease, and terus lama-lama we soon realized that it's time to make money. It's non-profit, cuman it's time to make this sustainable. It's time to stop mucking about and start trying everything and start trying to think ways in actually generating income. Soalnya ya maksudnya to facilitate and to maintain the whole website and Meja Kita Group and our developers in Malang and so on and so forth, itu kan it needs money, and money don't grow on trees kan, and juga we try to contact venture capitalists apa it's difficult. So Aksa waktu itu created this subsidiary company namanya Meja Kerja. I don't know if you know that. Meja Kerja is B2B sih. It's an online employee training solution. It's been going on for 2 years if I'm not mistaken, and tenants-nya udah beberapa gitu, and we started finding business. Terus kita juga waktu itu created a media group because we thought, you know what, it's rather ridiculous for us to keep waiting for other media outlets to contact us. Why don't we make our own media outlet gitu kan? Daripada nunggu Metro TV, TV One nunggu mereka kontak kita, mendingan kita bikin aja sendiri media group kita, and we just promote Meja Kita through it kan. That was fun. Itu namanya Nukilan Media Group. Waktu itu we started off making podcasts. It generated around 500,000-600,000 views. We talked about things that are usually not talked about. Some taboo. Some things lah waktu itu. I scarcely remember. Terus akhirnya after that we gained a lot of students from other universities who wanted to try and create their own podcast. Cuman they don't have the medium. We provided Nukilan Media as their medium. Okay, we asked them to get creative apa-apa. What we want the future sih for Meja Kita for now is to be sustainable. Soalnya quote unquote we're in debt to our parents kan. And pokoknya we want it to be sustainable, and juga sekarang di mana everything is online, we're trying to promote on creating tryouts, creating soal-soal, and so on and so forth, because we have our materials and the structure, the foundation of the materials already there. Tinggal nambah-nambahin materials such as tryouts, soal-soal, ujian nasional, some things like that, buat SBMPTN, SNMPTN, and things like that. So that's what we're trying to create for now. I guess for the future, say, for now, what we can think is to make it self-sustainable, and again, of course, to widen our reach.
Berarti emang yang lu invent gitu, emang saling saling berhubungan gitu kan, saling complement each other gitu.
Everything is under Meja Kita
Group.
Everything masih di bawah Meja Kita Group. So that's the gist of it.
Oke. Ya sih.
Menarik sih. Terus gue penasaran, dalam proses panjang itu, apa sih pengorbanan terbesar dari lo? What is your biggest sacrifice to dedicate yourself to Meja Kita? Yang paling memorable gitu.
Ya kalau in a big understatement sih time, of course, because
waktu.
I think a lot of people are still failing to realize how precious and important time is. Jadi kalau mikir gini tuh time is of the essence gitu.
Nggak bisa diulang.
You really can't take it back gitu. Jadi kalau if you ask me about what I sacrifice most, amongst many others, amongst friends, relationships apa-apa mungkin money boleh dibilang, time sih bisa time with family, time with friends, time spent time that I could be working on something instead atau apa other things instead. Menurut gue time is the biggest thing I invested.
Tapi di titik ini lu nggak nyesel kan?
No,
gak ada penyesalan.
At the end of the day, I believe that it's a return investment.
Ya?
Lu yakin kalau yang lu investasikan ini akan bermanfaat di kemudian hari?
Yeah, of course.
Lu yakin akan keputusan yang udah lu pilih ini?
Yeah, you gotta keep thinking all the time. Kayak what you're doing is always an investment, not only to the things that you have, but the things that you are, gitu. Yourself.
Yeah. Karena udah quotes, what we are doing today will be our in tomorrow.
Ya benar.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Benar. These kind of talks are up and coming. Cuman the contents are the most important things kan. And yeah, this will be very beneficial not only for other people, juga for you guys as experiences.
Yeah.
Ya kan? It's an investment at the end of the day, which is very good. Yeah. Keren.
Oke, ini last but not least nih. Ini meja kita, mungkin lu mau berkata apa ini ke Sobat Kata, ke masyarakat yang nonton podcast ini, lu mau ngomong apa ke mereka tentang meja kita? Mungkin mau minta supportnya gimana caranya gitu, misalkan masyarakat mau support meja kita gitu.
Yang mau disampaikan gitu.
Okay, so I just want everyone to realize bahwa education is the stem to everything gitu. Me personally, I do actually believe that through education you can solve pretty much everything. Kayak from the most minute things tuh menurut gue the problems that we face in this country itu if the people are educated properly on these matters, itu these things can be mitigated gitu. These issues and the solutions can be formulated accordingly gitu. Jadi first of all tuh I want everyone to realize the importance of education, the fact that education is not just a hump in your childhood gitu. It's not just something. It's not just a norm everybody follows. It's something it's a norm for a reason gitu. It's important. Perhaps the way the educational system works in this country atau in other countries, mungkin that's something that is hindering from the true philosophy of it. Mungkin. Cuman nevertheless, it's important gitu. Yeah, and stop blaming other people for it. Perhaps mungkin there are some people yang don't have the resources and apa-apa. Jadi emang we're here, meja kita is here to make people realize as well that education is important for themselves gitu, and it's again take ownership for it and to support meja kita. We are highly active in social media, especially in Instagram. You can open mejakita.com. We offer all the help that you guys need. You can just DM us if you need anything. We're very open and we take pride on the fact that kita juga we try to be as transparent as possible. The wall, we're trying to break the fourth wall, fifth wall, sixth wall, any wall. Ya kan? And jadi we just want you guys to realize the importance of education, and you can do that through mejakita.com.
Oke, berarti Sobat Kata bisa nih kepoin, support meja kita. Mungkin nanti kita kasih link Instagramnya sama websitenya di description box. Oke, jangan lupa.
Oke, satu lagi nih yang paling terakhir.
Apa? Wah, terakhir.
Penasaran nih. Kalau lu merenung, kira-kira 10 tahun lagi meja kita tuh udah jadi kayak apa sih?
Membayangkan ya, imagine nih.
Imagine what meja kita in 10 years.
Funny thing is, I just read an article a few days ago. I think it wasn't an article, it was a tweet.
Yeah?
Di Twitter deh. There was this tweet from some guy, I forgot. Okay, he said, stop making plans of what will happen in the next 5 years. Because you never know what happens. No matter what you do, you cannot predict the future. You can bisa kuliah medicine, dokter sekarang, and you don't know, in the next 5 years you may own a cafe or maybe a movie director. You cannot know what happens in 5 to 10 years. You can imagine, you can hope, you can dream. Cuman you cannot plan what happens in the 5-10 years. And what you should do instead is plan for next 12 months. 12 months in 1 year it's a period of time where things are masih relatively predictable. Ya mungkin COVID that's an outlier kan, but who would have expected that gitu. Cuman on the 12 months itu you plan every month ngapain apa-apa systematically in detailed apa-apa, and you can actually achieve something out of that. If you plan 5 years ahead, things change in 2.5, the rest of the 2.5 is completely different kan. Memang difficult. Cuman if I were to dream Meja Kita in 10 years bisa apa, it can be fully autonomous, to be honest. I hope that it could be fully autonomous. It could reach the people we want to reach. Kan sekarang it's been in berapa kota, I forgot honestly. Cuma maksudnya we hope it'll reach everyone gitu. In due time, the internet infrastructure will be established di Indonesia. Mau di pelosok-pelosok manapun mungkin internet udah ada. Amen to that. And beyond that, I hope at least the words of Meja Kita will transcend beyond what we have right now. You know, will spread across the entire archipelago and perhaps attract initiatives alike in other countries or in fact in these countries. Because dulu when we started in 2015, no one cared about education, and now tiba-tiba Nadiem Makarim he's doing splendidly kan, and he's making this notice about obviously he's trying to increase the awareness of education, importance of education apa-apa, and dia juga ngomong ownership of learning kan, tadi Joe kasih tahu gue tentang the podcast he heard kan, it was an interview or podcast, that's amazing. And sekarang everyone's starting to make this education itu, which is good, which we fully support juga. We gotta hug the underdogs and rise to the top bareng-bareng kan.
Oke, menarik banget ya Jil pembicaraan kita hari ini.
Benar-benar banyak juga insight yang gue dapet tentang education. Gue jadi disadarin lagi, berarti ya gue harus pakai waktu belajar gue dengan baik nih. Apalagi ada Meja Kita bisa bantuin diskusi gue sama temen gue, benar-benar.
Thank you David, it's a pleasure to have conversation with you
banget.
Today.
Thank you so much. Mantap. Oke. Good luck buat Meja Kita ya pokoknya. Good luck juga buat lu pribadi, mimpi-mimpi lu. Oke, nah sekarang kita mau reminder acara nih ke Sobat Kata.
Yes, betul banget. Jadi podcast Berawal Dari Kata akan tayang setiap bulan di minggu pertama jam 7 malam.
Betul.
Di mana Jel?
Apa tadi?
Di mana?
Di YouTube Gereja Kristus Ketapang.
Betul banget.
Nah, kalian kalau misalnya ada ide-ide atau saran, ngomongin apa ya? Langsung aja tulis di kolom komentar ya. Atau kalian bisa reach kita juga di Instagram. Jangan lupa
Berawal Dari Kata.podcast.
Betul.
Dan kalian juga bisa reach Instagram Meja Kita di mana Fit?
@Meja Kita.
Meja Kita.
As simple as that.
Oke,
thank you so much for having me.
Jadi sekarang kita mau dengerin kata-kata spesial gitu dari Mr. Kata.
Oke. Mari kita dengarkan. Pendidikan. Terdengar simpel, tapi dampaknya gak simpel. Pendidikan adalah pilar bagi berdirinya suatu bangsa. Dan kalianlah para pilar itu. Para pelajar Indonesia. Kitalah yang akan menentukan maju tidaknya Indonesia. Semuanya bergantung pada tangan kita. Milikilah ownership of learning. Karena kita adalah generasi yang merdeka belajar, bukan generasi yang terjajah oleh sistem pembelajaran. Berawal dari kata. Karena semua kisah berawal dari kata. Titik.